Okay, so 7.2. So this lesson is going to be kind of like things we talked about, or related things we talked about in the employment unit, talking about gross pay and net pay. So this is talking about paying taxes throughout the year. Again, we learned that they're called withholding taxes because your employer basically holds them for you, and then come the end of the year, they make your tax bill payment for you with all of the taxes they have withheld. And then when you file, you can see if they withheld enough. So go ahead and read this one. Barbara started a new job and wants to verify that her net pay has been computed correctly. So again, net pay is after all this stuff has been taken out. Her gross pay, oops, in the world. Her gross pay, got a bunch of dog hair here messing me up. Let's see if I can keep using this. Take 3. Her gross pay per period is $269.75. So again, remember, that's before anything gets taken out. She has the following deductions. FICA, this is Social Security. If you might see that on your pay stub sometimes. If it says FICA, that's Social Security as well. FICA is just the law that got Social Security into place. 6.2%, Medicare 1.45%, federal withholding 47.51, state withholding, retirement, disability, medical, and dental. Wow. What should be her net pay for this period? So guys, this looks like a lot. This is actually a very easy question because net pay is just your gross pay. Oh, come on. It's just one of them days. Net pay is just your gross pay minus all deductions. That's it. That's what net pay is, right? Subtract away all of your deductions. So we're going to do that. Here is the gross pay, $269.75, minus, we need to find the total of all the deductions. So let's skim back through this again. We've got 6.2%. Now be careful with that. That's a percentage. You are not going to write, oh, minus 0.062 or minus 6.2. You guys know that. Does not matter the context. Percentages have to be of something. So we'll come back to that in a bit. Medicare is also percentage. But then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are all just dollar amounts. So what we're going to do first is we're going to need to find these percentages. And then we're going to get all of these deductions together and subtract them away at once. So I'm going to come over here. Now again, this is Social Security, but I'll write FICA since it says FICA in the question. So I want you to find 6.2%. What do you think that's going to be of? When you pay a tax, what is this 6.2% going to be of? It's going to be of the income, right? Same for this as well, because that's how taxes work. They are percentages of your income. So I need to take 6.2% of this, get that answer. Take 1.45%, get that answer. So I'm going to go ahead and go down here real quick. I want you to take a moment to do that. 6.2% of the gross income, 1.45% of the gross income. Take a moment to find that. Okay, so the gross income in both cases is 269. It stays the same. Oh, it's right there. 0.75 to 69.75. So guys, by now you should know how to do this. You should have gotten 0.062. That's again 6.2 divided by 100. Always got to do that. Times 269.75. This is 0.0145 times 269.5. 75, sorry. Now again, the only reason that it's 0.0 for these numbers is because they are less than 10, right? Any percentage less than 10 ends up getting a 0 in front of it, yeah. So 0.062 times 269.75. So for FICA, you should have gotten, rounding this off to 16.72. And 0.0145 times 269.75. And should have gotten 3.91 here. Okay, so we have these two, and then the rest of the dollar amount. So I want you to take a moment. I want you to add up all of the deductions. It's these two right here. These are the actual dollar amounts we need. Now we can add them with the other dollar amounts. Add everything together. Let's see what we get. Okay, I'm going to do this as well. So 16.72. This is me adding them all together. 16.72 plus 3.91 plus 47. 0.51, 16.62 plus 9 plus 2.56 plus 12 plus 6. Okay, I'm gonna double check this real quick because I've made mistakes in the past. I've made mistakes in the past. Okay, sweet. Okay, so I believe you should have gotten, double check this twice. There we go, 114.32. So here is everything coming out of their paycheck. So here's gonna be their net pay then. You should get 155.43. So this is their net pay. Now, one or two things here real quick to wrap this question up, and then you're gonna try it again. Again, it seems like a lot. All you need to do for these questions is find the percentages first, add together all the deductions, and then just subtract them away at once. Couple things that this person probably does not actually have all of these deductions. If you're making that little money, you're either working part-time or just not on a job that would give you a lot of benefits. So you probably wouldn't have dental, you probably wouldn't have health insurance, you probably wouldn't have retirement. So this example is a little funky because the numbers are very small. Typically, again, if you're making this little money, you're not going to have all these deductions. The other thing is that, again, for federal withholding and state withholding, we talked about this in class, but just to remind you that those were technically your choice. You fill out the W-4 and the A-4 forms when you get hired to decide how much you want withheld. Now, for state, again, that's the form where you get to choose the percentage. And there's forms you can fill out that can help you pick. For most people, right in the middle is going to be totally fine for those options that you have. For federal now, the form, though, does not let you choose a percentage. You fill out your income that you think you're going to get throughout the whole year. And if you'd like to, you can actually choose to withhold extra if you think it's not going to be enough. So again, these are kind of your choice in hopes that you will pay enough by the end of the year. If you want to be certain that you're paying enough, that's when you can consult a tax professional. Okay, I want you guys to try this one more time. Again, net pay is gross pay minus all your deductions. You need to find if there are any percentages, which there are. You need to find those percentages of the gross pay first, and then add together all the deductions. So go ahead and try this one all the way through. Let's see, you can press play when you're ready to check. Okay, so the gross pay is the 305.35. Minus, I'm gonna go ahead and get the total of the deductions. We have 1 percentage, 2 percentage, 3 percentages, so we need to find those. And then I have dollar amount, dollar amount, dollar amount. So I'm going to go ahead and write off to the side here all of my percentages, which are all going to be of the pay because that's how taxes work. So for FICA, which is again Social Security, we got 0.062 times 305.35. For Medicare, we've got 0.0145 times 305.35. And for federal withholding, they gave a percentage here. Now, again, it's not that you got to choose this percentage. This is 0.21. Again, though, guys, real quick. Again, 21% is 0.21. If you did 0.021, that would actually be 2.1%. So be careful. So you don't actually get to choose the percentage unless you do the math yourself. So if you want to figure out what 21% of your income would be, you can actually say, I want exactly this much withheld from each paycheck. So you could do the math and say, okay, I want to withhold 21%. I am making that choice. You would have to do the math yourself. You don't just get to choose the percentage, again, especially for federal taxes. There's no percentages on that form for you to pick. So, but you can say, I want to have this much exactly withheld. You can actually do that. Okay, so I've got these three numbers and then 16, 62, 12, and 18. So I'm going to go ahead and add together all the deductions here. So I've got 18.93 plus 4.43 plus 64.12 plus 16.62 plus 12 plus 18. Okay, I'm gonna double check one more time. 18.93 plus 4.43 plus 64.12 plus 16.62. Okay, so I'm double checking these twice, guys, because again, if you miss the numbers anywhere, you're gonna get the answer wrong, and that really sucks. So please type it in twice. I did that, yeah. 305.35 minus 134.10. That's what it says. Okay, so here's their net pay, 171.25. And that's it. There we go. Oops. Okay, so again, not technically a hard question, a little tedious. You just got to find those percentages, get all of the deductions together, and then subtract them away. Okay, now this one is going to be a little bit similar. We're still talking about deductions and things coming out of your paycheck. This is a pay stub. This is Lorna's biweekly pay stub. Assuming that this stays, Lorna's salary deductions remain the same throughout the calendar year. So she's salaried, so we're going to say this stays the exact same for the whole year. What percent of her salary is being paid towards all her taxes? So here's where we can figure out again how much of your gross income is going to be taken from you. So if we read through this here, we've got earnings. This is the amount for the pay period. YTD, do you guys know what YTD means? This means year to date. You will probably have this on your pay stub. And what it means is since the beginning of the year. So it shows the total. It obviously resets every January. Since the beginning of the year. Year to date, that's YTD. So it resets every January. So if you stay with a job for that long, for more than a year, it would reset every January. And it just shows you how much has been paid to you and how much has been taken from you total so far, right? This is this paycheck. This is the beginning of the year. So these are going to gross earnings here up top. We have deductions, which these are taxes, known as Social Security, Medicare, federal, state. And then adjustments, sometimes they will put these separately because these are things that are not taxes, but still things being taken out of your paycheck. So that's how this breaks down. Again, these are all the things being taken out of her paycheck. These are the taxes. These are things that are not taxes. Let's go back and reread the question. What percent of her salary is being paid toward all her taxes? What percent of her salary? So to start with, if I want to find a percent, it says what percent? Think about what we might need to do. When you get your test score, what does it look like? You know that it can become a percentage, but you see it first as a score. What does it look like? Well, what percent means we're going to need either, if you want to think about it this way, a fraction, or we need to divide. Yeah, to get a decimal to then get a percent. So what we're going to do here, we'll come down here, we want what percent is being paid of her salary is being paid towards her taxes. So what this means is, again, income is going to be on bottom. All of her taxes are going to be on top. How much taxes are out of her income? So you write this down, please. What percent means, in this case, taxes over income. This is like your test score, right? You see how many you got right out of how much total. This is how much you're paying towards taxes out of your total pay. So one last thing to say here, and then you're going to kind of try it, is it says just taxes. You're only going to do these ones unless it said deductions and adjustments, taxes and everything coming out of her paycheck, whatever they said. So be very careful to read the questions. We are just figuring out the percentage for her taxes. So take a moment. I want you to add these two together, or all of this together. This will be how much is being paid towards her taxes, and then we can find what that percentage is. Nope, too much. Okay, so I got 1628.82, and that should be right. Now, I'm going to say something here that I should have said. This is an example of a pay stub. This is an actual legit example of a pay stub. You do not need to use this column Because we're trying to find a percentage, you could actually use either or, it doesn't matter. We're not talking in totals, we're talking percents. So it doesn't matter if I use this paycheck's numbers versus the entire year's numbers, since it's a percentage. This will be on an actual pay stub, you gotta know what it is, but we don't need it for this question. Okay, so these are the taxes. Look again at our pay stub. Where is her salary? What's her gross pay? Right here, this is her income. That's her gross income, right? So let's go ahead and let's come down here. We need taxes on top and income on bottom. So taxes on top, income on bottom. Write out what our fraction is going to be with these two numbers. Okay, taxes are on top, so 1628.82. Be careful, guys. You just got to read. Just because it's a big number or just because it comes first doesn't mean it goes on top. 4,596.39. Okay, and it makes sense anyways that the smaller number needs to go on top because we're dealing with a percentage here. We want to have a percentage. Whoops, 1628.2 divided by 4,596.39. Okay, so you should have gotten 0.35, which makes sense because our answer needs to be a percent. So what is this as a percent? This is 35%. It's the first two digits. If it was 0.06, the first two digits are 0.6, so this is 6%. I mean, you could put 0.6, but that makes no sense, yeah. So this is 35%, and that's our answer. So she is paying 35% of her income towards taxes. So this is actually a very good estimate, guys. If you go get a job, and they say, here's your gross pay. Take off about 30 to 35%, and that's about what your net pay will be as an estimation. Yeah, if you just have taxes. So once again, because it said what percent of just taxes, that's why we only focused on this. Sometimes you will have questions where you've got to pick apart what you are given versus what you actually need. Sometimes you don't need all that is given. Because it said what percent, that means we are dividing so that we can get a decimal to get the percent. So I want you guys to look at this next one. You're gonna try it. This is now a W-2 form though. We're gonna look more at this later, but kind of picking this apart here, and then you're gonna do the exact same thing. What percent of her income is being paid towards her taxes? So we need to find all this information really quickly. So on a W-2, this is the entire year's information. A pay stub tells you one paycheck, and sometimes, again, the year to date, up to wherever you're at in the year. But a W-2 is the entire year's worth. Again, that doesn't matter, though, because we're talking about what percent. So it doesn't matter if we're looking at one paycheck or the entire year, because that's how percents work. So I want you to kind of skim through real quickly. See if you can read this and see what her income is. Where do we see that information? It doesn't say income, but it says something else that means income. This is the income right here. Box 1 on your W-2 will always be your income. It says wages, tips, and other compensation. That's income. Now, let's see if I can do highlighter. There we go. So there's the income. Now we need to find all of our taxes. So I'm going to scroll down here. There are 4 different taxes listed. There should be 5. For some reason, they didn't list Medicare. This is just an example of a W-2 I pulled off of online. It's not a real person. But go ahead and skim through, read all the boxes, and see if you can find all the taxes. There are, again, going to be 4. Well, we've got federal income tax, Social Security tax, and then down here, this is for state and local. That usually means city. State, nope, not that one. Undo. State income tax, there we go, and local income tax. So the same thing is going to happen, where to find the percent, we need the taxes over the income. So go ahead, get the total of all of the taxes. We got that in green here. I'll kind of even color code it. We have the income on bottom. Divide and get your percent. Go ahead and try this. Okay, 15,851 plus 4,733.70 plus 5,344.50 plus 1,092. Okay, so here is the total for all of the taxes that I got. I'm pretty sure I did it right. I can double check real quick, but I can't. That's irritating. It's okay. This should be right. 27,021.21. And again, that's all of these four numbers added together. The income is the 76,350. Okay, and then so let's go here. So I've got divide. Nope, delete. Divided by, there we go. 76,350. Okay, so this is once again, which makes sense. This is again 0.35. It's 0.3. It's a different, the numbers are different afterwards, 0.35, 39, whatever. But this is still 35%. That's just a coincidence, guys, that these two ended up rounding out to the same thing. Mildly coincidence, because again, 30 to 35% is a good estimate of how much you will be paying in taxes, but it's not going to be exactly the same. Again, if you look at the decimals between these two questions, the rest of the decimals after the 0.35 were different. So don't assume that every answer is going to be 35%. Okay, so I know that kind of seems like a lot. It's really easy. You just have to pick apart what's there. Yeah. Either you're going to be subtracting if we're talking about net pay, gross pay minus deductions, or you're going to be dividing if it asks what percent. So read the question very carefully. If it's asking for net pay, subtract what percent you should divide.